The Whispering Pines, captives. The scent of pine and damp earth filled Maya's lungs, a welcome change from the city's ceaseless vibe. Beside her, Liam wrestled with a stubborn tent pole, his grunts echoing faintly in the serene evening air. Chloe, ever the organizer, meticulously arranged their campfire supplies, humming a tuneless melody. Behind them, Noah, their resident cynic, remained glued to his phone screen, muttering darkly about the abysmal signal. It was their annual Escape the Parents camping trip, a cherished ritual, this year deep in the supposedly tranquil heart of the Whispering Pines National Forest, a place rumored to hold ancient secrets that usually only surfaced in ghost stories. The first 2 days were idyllic. They hiked winding trails where sunlight dappled through the dense canopy, told increasingly terrible jokes around a crackling fire, and roasted marshmallows until they were blackened, sugary husks. The forest felt alive, a comforting presence, but on the third night, as twilight deepened into an inky blackness, a strange and unnerving mist began to roll in. It was incredibly thick, obscuring vision within mere feet and carrying an almost metallic chill that seemed to seep into their very bones. It swirled around their campsite, tendrils snaking eerily between their tents, extinguishing the warmth of their fire faster than the night air should. And with the mist came the chants. The sounds were ancient and raw, coiling through the air from everywhere and nowhere at once. Alow, they grew steadily louder, more defined and more unsettling. "Anyone else hear that?" Chloe spoke out, her eyes alert with a fear that mirrored Maya's own. Liam gripped a fallen branch, his usual bravado gone. "Sounds old," he murmured, his gaze darting frantically into the swirling grey. "Really old, like tribal old." Before they could comprehend the chilling implication, figures began to materialize from the shifting mist. They weren't solid, but shimmering, translucent forms, their edges indistinct as if constantly dissolving and reforming. They were armed with archaic spears and bows that seemed woven from shadow and moonlight, yet cast no shadows of their own. Their eyes, or where eyes should have been, burned with an eerie phosphorescent light, fixating on the stunned teens with an ancient predatory intelligence. Their movements were impossibly swift, unnervingly silent, a fluid gliding motion that defied physics. They were numerous, an overwhelming presence emerging from the very depths of the forest itself. A scream caught in Maya's throat, her muscles locked, then jolted into raw, desperate instinct. They scattered, each team bolting in a different direction. But the ghostly warriors were too fast, too ethereal. Maya felt a sudden, cold, intangible grip on her arm, a touch that sent shivers of ice through her veins despite its lack of physical presence, pulling her with relentless strength into the thickening mist. The last thing she saw before the grey swallowed her completely was Noah's terrified face as he too was dragged away by another shimmering, silent figure. They were thrown into a makeshift enclosure, not a cage of bars, but a clearing surrounded by ancient, moss-covered stones that shimmered with the same ethereal energy as their captors. The air within was heavy and oppressive, filled with the scent of damp decay and something else, something electric and cold, like the static before a lightning strike. As their eyes adjusted, they saw other captives, spectral, silent figures resembling people from vastly different eras. A pioneer in buckskin, a Victorian woman in a tattered gown, a child in archaic clothing. Their faces were etched with a timeless despair, their ghostly eyes reflecting nothing. It was then the teens realized the horrifying truth. These were not living people who had been captured recently. They were ghosts too, just like their captors, held in the same spectral prison, perhaps for centuries. Days bled into indistinguishable stretches of mist-shrouded limbo. Time seemed to warp, stretching thin then snapping back, marked only by the shifting intensity of the mist outside and the slow erosion of their hope. The ghostly tribe would occasionally observe them, their glowing eyes unreadable, their silence more terrifying than any overt threat. Their torment was a constant, unsettling tone that continued relentlessly, pushing them to the edges of their sanity. They huddled together, their conversations reduced to minimum, their fear a constant, suffocating companion. Hunger and thirst became distant sensations, less pressing than the gnawing despair of their ethereal confinement. Then, one night, though night and day were indistinguishable, a profound and absolute silence descended. The oppressive chant stopped abruptly. The heavy, cold feeling in the air lifted completely, replaced by an unsettling emptiness. Cautiously, Liam peered through the translucent barriers of their prison. The ghostly tribe was gone, not vanished, not dissolved, but simply gone. The clearing was utterly empty. It was as if they had never existed. The mist itself began to thin rapidly, swirling away to reveal the familiar, solid trees of pines, now bathed in the silvery light of the late moon. They stumbled out, disoriented and shaken to their core. Trembling, they found their campsite, abandoned but miraculously untouched, their tents and backpacks mockingly mundane, as if nothing out of the ordinary had occurred. They never spoke of it in detail again, not really, not even among themselves. How could they? Who would believe they had been captured by ghosts, who were themselves ancient echoes, and then those spirits had simply disappeared, vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the chilling memory of their glowing eyes and the phantom echoes of ancient chants that would forever resonate in the deepest corners of their minds. The whispering pines, once a place of escape, now held a terrifying, unspoken secret. A stark reminder of a tribe that was there, then wasn't, a chilling mystery forever embedded in the silent ancient woods.